Am I a good badminton player? Actually a question that I asked myself plenty of times, and the short answer to it is yes and no. At my peak, I had a world ranking of 200 in men's singles, so compared to most other players and most people on earth, yeah, I'm definitely quite good at badminton. And I was also practicing almost my whole life. I started very early and was always chasing the dream of becoming one of the best in the world. But if I compared myself to the best in the world, and I had several opportunities to play some really high-level top players, I felt like I'm not that good anymore. And I felt that there was such a big difference that these players in the top 10 or top 20 of the world are on a whole different level. Of course, I asked myself what made the difference. And now after my career, I figured out that there are plenty of areas where, I could have done things so much better. And also I found out a few reasons why these players just play on a whole different level than me. And in this video, I want to show you my 5 reasons why I didn't become one of the best in the world. So maybe that will also help some of the younger generation to avoid these mistakes that I did on the pursuit of becoming a great badminton player. So like I said, I started early at the age of 5, and I was also having training with coaches. There was also a lot of training with technical focus, but now I would say I didn't have a good foundation in terms of technical skills. Like if I compared myself to German players, I was still okay, but as soon as I was playing on a higher international level, and especially when I first played against some good Asian players, I was totally blown away what they are able to do with the racket, and also their footwork is just on a different level. Also, one key experience that I had is as soon as I had some pressure and the tempo got higher in the match, I had only one option most of the times in the corners. So it was easy to read for my opponents, what am I going to do? And on the other side, really skilled high-level players, even though I had them under pressure, they were still able to get out because they had several options that they can play under pressure or when they are really low at the net or even behind the body in the rear court. So as a junior, I practiced the basics, the technical basic shots. But if I could turn back time, I would focus more on the really difficult stuff. So starting early on with a lot of different trick shots, try to develop skills where I can play all kinds of shots from all corners and also have more variation in defense. So that would have helped me a lot later on to get out of trouble, also put more challenges on my opponents. And they were doing that all the time, the higher level players, but I was just doing the basics, but that was not enough on that level to keep up with the top guys. So besides practicing the hard shots and deceptions that I just mentioned, I would also invest even more time on developing a very, very strong technical foundation. Because being able to play different shots with the racket opens up so many tactical options also in the match. And if you can only play one shot from one corner, then you don't have to talk or think about tactics at all. So you need different options. And on the other hand, if you also have great footwork, that will help you to save so much energy, to move faster and more efficient on court. And on a higher level, you need to be efficient and fast, and otherwise you have no chance to stand against the top players. So I love that quote from Bruce Lee, that he doesn't fear the man that has practiced 10,000 different kicks one time, but he fears the one that has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And I know I've just said we need a big foundation and we need to have a lot of different skills. But if you want to be able to compete on a top level, you also need a weapon. You need to be dangerous. You need to have a kind of a superpower if you want to be able to score against these players. So I would say I had a good and decent attack, especially from my round the head corner. I had a good stick smash that goes steep close to the line. But it was decent, but it wasn't world class. And I realized against top players that I was not able to score with that shot anymore. Or maybe one time, and afterwards they were ready for it. And even though I played it with okay precision and okay speed, they just got it back. And have a look at the top players. They all have something that is just amazing. They have amazing shots from the rear court. Not everything, but they have certain weapons where they know they can really hurt the other one. They can hurt the opponent. So weapons don't necessarily have to be attacking shots. It can also be being very creative in defense or having a deadly game at the net. It can also be something like fitness and fighting and bringing everything back. But remember, you have to be world class, and you will see that on a top level, you have to be really fit and fast and run a long time if you want to separate yourself from the other ones in that area. So try to figure out what can be your weapon and also don't stop to work on that specific shot or on that specific skill. And here it's not about practicing until you can get it right, but until you can't get it wrong anymore. So if you want to call a skill a real weapon on that level, it needs to work 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times, or at least come with quality and hurt the other opponent. So you has to be afraid of that all match long. And it should also work when you're getting tired, when you're maybe also under pressure, or when you're stressed. The biggest experience of difference between me and a top player that I ever had in my career was when I played Kenneth Jonassen, former world number 2 from Denmark. But at that time that I played him, I was, I would say around my peak, and he was not competing on any tournaments anymore. He was just playing league matches for a team here in Germany and already coaching full time. So he stopped playing, or he stopped his career already a couple of years before that. So I was super motivated. I was pumped to play such a former world-class player. And I was also confident at that time that I'm in such a good shape that I can challenge him. So with that feeling, I went on court and I had 0 chance in the first set and lost 21-11. And when I changed sides, I was already pretty exhausted. I was working hard. I was trying everything I could. But he was super relaxed. He was not breathing at all. And I said to myself, okay, I have to work even harder. I have to be super fast, super dangerous. And then I lost 21-5. So that was a horrible experience at that moment, but also a match where I learned so much from. Because like I said, he was not working so hard. He wasn't even running that fast. He was just always standing where my shots were going. And in the beginning of the first set, I had a few situations where I was scoring a point, but then I had no more chance to score with my smash at all. I was smashing, but he was already standing on the right side. And he was moving before I even hit the shuttle in the end. And on the other side, when he was smashing, I had absolutely no clue where to move. And his smashes were hitting the floor on the right, on the left. But what was the difference? He was incredibly good at anticipating. And he was so good at reading my movements. After 2 smashes, he had already figured out how my movement looks like when I'm hitting cross-court or straight, or when I play a drop, or when I play a smash. And on the other side, I had no clue at all what he was doing when he was hitting an overhead shot. And this is also something I had not that extreme, but also quite the same way against other Danish players. They were so clever in terms of anticipating, reading movements, and they are also very deceptive with their shots. So it's pretty hard to read what they are doing. And actually those 2 skills are linked together. So imagine an exercise where one player has just 2 options and the other one has to try to see and anticipate if he's playing shot number 1 or shot number 2. So you're starting to focus on the movement, you're starting to analyze what he or she is doing. And on the other hand, the other player tries to be more deceptive because he wants to not show too early what kind of shot he or she is playing in that situation. So very easy example, but that is something that you can do and implement in your training, and it helps you so much to get better in terms of anticipation, but also being deceptive. And it will also help you to maybe avoid such a horrible experience that I just described against Kenneth Jonassen. So when it comes to analyzing matches and rewatching matches, I was always focusing on the great rallies, on also the things that I did good, and I was especially rewatching my biggest victories and good wins. But I was definitely avoiding the tough losses and the things that I did bad or where I had no chance at all. So but avoiding all these tough losses, these bad situations is quite natural, but it did hold me back. And I think this is a really, really big mistake that I did. And the mistakes I did in that match, I was doing them over and over again because I was not ready to face them, not ready to really dig deep on what I could do better, what I have to do better. And that's also why there wasn't a big change in those weak areas in my game. So that's also a big recommendation if you have a terrible match, and also when you have a match with good and bad things. It's nice if you cut out the highlight rally and put it on Instagram, but focus on the bad things, focus also on the rallies where you made a mistake after 2-3 shots and watch it over and over again. Try to figure out what made the difference here, because that's where you can get the ideas for your training, how to do things better, how to improve, and how to avoid the mistakes in the next match and get on a different level. So let's get to the last thing, maybe the most important thing if you want to become world class or one of the best. And I have to be honest, it hurts a little that I have to list this one up here, but it's about being crazy and being professional. So I would say that was actually one of my strengths, being professional, and that also helped me to overtake some players that were better during the junior years and helped me to get up the ranks here in Germany in my senior career. But as soon as I had to face the international competition, I realized that most of these guys are very serious about badminton. They are super professional, and to be honest, some of these guys are also on a whole different level. So if you look at Victor Axelsen, I don't know him personally, but for me he seems like the role model in terms of like being professional and investing everything that you have with just one goal, becoming the best. But that's what it takes, like just from practicing a little bit, from maybe being talented in some areas, you won't get anywhere. For sure, many of you know David Goggins, the crazy endurance athlete and former Marine SEAL, and he has a saying,
you want to be uncommon amongst uncommon people. Like for me, what got me in trouble with the Navy SEALs is I wanted to be one so bad. And I saw them as uncommon people, very uncommon. But once you become a Navy SEAL, you're all Navy SEALs, so guess what happens? You're fucking common again. I wanted to be uncommon amongst uncommon people.
So when you want to become one of the best in your country, you need to be among the top 1%. But as soon as you want to get on an even higher level, you are competing now with all the other top % players from all the other countries. So you need to be even more professional. You need to be ready to invest more. That's easier said than done. So like I said, I was pretty professional, but was I always behaving the right way? Was I always eating the right things? No, definitely not. I also had my Fridays where I went partying, and the training week afterwards was horrible. I was not improving, and there are many examples where these little things, they add up, and if you're doing the right things, if you're able to resist those temptations more often than others, that can make a difference. Or this is also necessary if you want to get on the highest level. And I think there are many good examples in the world of sports of these people that are just crazy. They have a crazy mindset. And with the words of Carolina Marin's coach, Fernando Rivas,
porque Carolina, si te conviertes en una persona normal, dejas de hacer cosas extraordinarias.
So like many other former badminton players, I also became a coach now and working as a coach now for several years. And being a former player definitely helps. But at the same time, it is also a challenge, because in the beginning, and also many other former players that I see doing coaching now, in the beginning you just do the training the way you were also trained, or you were copying that things because you think, okay, I'm a good badminton player, do it the same way like me. But if I would do that with my players, it's hard to expect them to become better than me, but that is my goal. I want them all to become better than me. I want to learn from my mistakes and do a way better job and help them to be prepared for these situations that I just described, with facing a lot better players in so many different areas. And I want to avoid that I limit myself, my coaching, with the level that I reached, that I had, even though compared to most other guys, it was a quite good level, but it wasn't good enough for my goals, my ambitions, and I want to support my players even more and try to help them on their way to become a great badminton player. Thank you so much for watching, guys. A little different video this time, but I hope you liked it, enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do that as well. And then see you in the next one. Bye bye.